but I've been Baptist, I've been in the Methodist church, all of that. Be honest. What's going on? What's going on? Listen, I'm excited, man, to be on this edition of Bishop Chronicles Podcast. Listen, I'm excited to have you guys on the show, man. Listen, we are kind of revamping some things this morning, guys. So listen, this is what we're doing, and I know I'm going to have some people like, oh my God, Bishop, you're always changing something. I'm like, yes, I know. But listen what we're doing, guys. We are making Bishop Chronicles Podcast in a YouTube sensation, okay? So we are strictly doing, the only thing we're going to be doing, and let me put these down. The only thing we're going to be doing is we're going to broadcast live on our Facebook page at Bishop Chronicles Podcast, but starting next week, we're going to do it via YouTube. And we're going to filter it over into our YouTube page to our Facebook page. And people ask me, well, Bishop, why are we doing that? Well, the reason why, one, is because we want to put more traffic in our YouTube page. Number two, we want to utilize our Facebook page and our Twitter page to get more information, get more insight from you guys. So I want to open up the floor for that. So just wanting to mainstream it, just wanting to make sure that we give you guys better content. And we're only going to be dealing with ministry, church-related things. Now, that could be good and bad on some instances. However, it is that's what we're going to be focusing on, okay? So listen, guys, we got a great show for you today, man. I am so excited about the show today. Today, we will be dealing with the 5 things you need starting a church. The 5 things you need when starting a church. Now, please forgive me. I know this sounds cheesy, but I promise you it is worth it. Okay, so I need you to make sure that you share this. I need you to make sure that you are really taking some notes on this, because I want to make sure that you got everything you need when you're starting your ministry, okay? One of the things about Bishop Chronicles Podcast, we want to make sure that we help the non-mega church. Okay, let me say that again, the non-mega church. And not because we don't want you to become mega, but before you can become mega, you got to first be small. And the Bible says, despise not small beginnings. And we want to make sure that we do the right thing and get ministries off the right foot. So, listen, let's get right back into it. Let's get right into it. We are dealing with, once again, the 5 things you need when starting a church. Make sure that you guys are joining us on all of our feeds, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Make sure that you guys are hanging with us, okay? So let's get right into it, okay? Let me make sure that I write the right things down. You know, I don't want nobody to sit up here and say, "Well, Bishop, you didn't write the right things down." So. Let's talk about some things that you need. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, because I have been building churches, for quite some time now, and I've been building my own church. And one of the biggest things that I made a mistake on when building my church is not knowing what to do to get started. Everybody gave me all kinds of advice. Everybody told me you need to do this, you need to do that. But none of it, just to be honest with you, was the right advice when it came to starting my church, okay? It sounded good, okay, but legally it wasn't what needed to be. So once again, I made a lot of mistakes when I was starting my church. One of the biggest mistakes that I made, and I just want to let people know this, is I trusted too many people. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I trusted way too many people. And when I say that, I don't mean it in a bad way, but when you starting your own ministry, it's just like starting your own business. You believe that everybody is on your side. You believe that everybody is, has your best interest in mind. And unfortunately, that's just not the truth. I'm just throwing it out there. It's just not the truth. And you think, especially friends and family members, you think, oh my God, I'm a new business owner, or a new, however you want to say it, business owner, whatever the case may be. And you're sitting here like, oh my God, everybody is going to, flock to my ministry because, hey, guess what? They say they love me and they say, oh, they want to support me. But what you'll find out is that people won't support you as much as you think if they get nothing out of it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying that's just normally the way it is. Okay. And that's what I had to come to grips with. Okay, so that was the first thing I realized. That's the first thing I had to realize right off the bat, is that everybody will not support you, and that was a hard reality. I'm just going to be honest with you. That was a very, very, very difficult reality for me. Okay, the next thing I had to realize, and this was crazy. I had to realize, and these are not a part of the 5 things that I'm teaching you guys today, okay? But I'm just letting you know some things, because I know somebody's like, man, I really thought that people were going to support me a little bit better than they did. Well, no, that's not the case. And once again, it's no slight on them. It's not that they don't love you. Let me say that right now. It's not that people don't love you. It's just that, they just, They got other stuff to do. I'm just being honest, and that was something I had to look at. I had to really look at. So that was the first thing. Okay, the second thing I had to look at was that it takes money, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It takes money. Okay, y'all, folks can say whatever it is they want to, but man, it takes money to build, grow, and run a church. And I completely misjudged that. It was just crazy to me how much money it took on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. It was crazy. I had no plan, no strategy, any of that stuff. So those are a couple of things that I really wish somebody would have talked to me about before I opened up my church. And that doesn't mean I didn't have a covering. That doesn't mean that I didn't have people to give me good advice. But let me tell you something about advice. Advice is extremely good until you have to do it. Okay? Advice is extremely good until you have to do it. And a lot of the advice that people was giving me was great to listen to, but it was hard to do. Okay? So that's why I want to make sure that Bishop Chronicles Podcast help the smaller church. We help the churches that are just now getting in. Man, you're under 250 people. And guess what? We can help you at least put some things on your mind, help you through the implementation process, and really challenge you to just put some of these techniques, strategies, and systems in place so that you can become a better ministry. Okay, so real quickly, let me just go ahead and jump into this really quick. The first thing you're gonna need, and I'm throwing this out here, guys, because so many people make this mistake, man. The first thing you're gonna need is something called a DBA. Okay, you're gonna need a DBA. All right, a DBA is something called doing business as. Okay, it's a certificate that's allowing you to do business as whatever your ministry name is. So if your ministry name is Kingdom Faith Empowerment Center, it allows you to do business as that entity, and it tells the state that you are doing business as that entity. Okay, and we'll get some things up here so you guys can see this. I want you guys to see this, but yeah, it allows you to be able to do things as an entity. So the first thing, once again, you need, and I'm going to throw this out here, is a DBA. Okay, you need a DBA. All right, that's the first thing. All right, you got to make sure that you have a DBA. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what's going on. You got to have a DBA. That's a doing business as. You can go down to the local clerk's office. You can do it online, whatever it is you need to do. But before you do anything, you need to go make sure that your business is a legal entity. Too many churches especially are going up there and they're saying, oh, okay, well, I could just start assembling. And now you're assembling, but you're not legal. And within a year or two, you're shut down because taxes had to be paid and all this other stuff. And let me tell you guys something. If you go and rent a building and code enforcement finds out that you're renting a building and you don't have the proper paperwork, certificate of occupancy, a DBA, and some other things that we're going to talk about today, guess what? They will shut you down. They will shut you down. And let me tell you something. There's nothing more embarrassing than being shut down from not doing something that's so simple as something like a DBA. Okay? So hear what I'm telling you. Make sure that you go and you get a DBA. They only cost about $16. I think they're about $20 now. But if you go to if you actually go and make your DBA a nonprofit, and I think that's code 806 or something. If you go look at the forms, I think it's 806. I may be wrong. 806 or 608 or something like that. No, it's 608 or something. Okay, but it's right up there at the top. Okay, it's right up under making it a for-profit organization. But if you do it, that only costs you $25. That only costs you $25, okay? And it takes 24 to 48 hours for them to approve it. You will have your articles of incorporation done and complete, which we're going to talk about in just a second. And guess what? You are now a legal entity. The next thing you need to make sure that you're doing is you need to make sure that you are getting something called an EIN. That's an employee identification number. Employee identification number, okay? This is huge, y'all. Let me tell you, because you can only get this from the IRS.gov website. Okay, and let me tell you why you got to get it from the IRS.gov website. Because it is telling the IRS that, guess what? I need you guys to identify that we are a legal entity. And let me tell you why the IRS needs to identify. Y'all probably already guessed it. The IRS is the money part of the government. Okay, the Internal Revenue Services. So they're talking about the internal monies that's coming in. So if you have a business or you have an entity that is collecting money or doing anything that can bring in money or an entity that the government could see as a money maker, they want to know about it. It doesn't mean that you always have to pay taxes, because as a nonprofit organization, you don't have to pay taxes, okay? And we'll get on that in another podcast about how to deal with taxes and all of that in your ministry. But as a nonprofit organization, the first 3 years with any business, you can file a loss. You do not have to file taxes. However, with a church, you don't have to. You're not obligated under certain tax laws. But once again, that's a whole different podcast. But once again, guys, you guys need to get a DBA. You need to get an EIN. EIN is your business social security number. It says that I am legal. Okay? The DBA says you're illegal and you can use the name. EIN says you can legal and you can operate as a business. Okay? Without those two things, you are clandestine. You are not a legitimate business. Okay? So please make sure that you understand the severity in getting these. Okay? So I want to make sure that you guys got that. Okay, cool. The next thing you guys need to make sure that you get, and this man, let me tell you something. A lot of people do not understand this, but I'm going to touch on it just for a second. And it's articles of incorporation. Okay, articles of incorporation. Now, with articles of incorporation, let me talk to you about this. Articles of incorporation, and we got about 20 seconds before we have to go to a break real quick. But articles of incorporation, what we have to look at is how your business is structured from a management perspective, okay? And from a management perspective, you have to understand how your business is going to be run, okay? So let me take a couple steps back from that. Because from a management perspective, the problem that people have is who's going to run it with them. And a lot of times we say, oh, I'm running my church by myself. I get that. But in your articles of incorporation, when you're doing your DBA and you're saying, okay, I want to be a nonprofit, and you, whatever form that is, and you send that in, you're telling them that, hey, listen, I'm a corporation. It's $25. Best way to go. It separates the legal entity from the actual people that are running it. So you want to do that. But once again, when you are doing articles of incorporation, you are putting directors. That is your board. And I think it's like 3 people that you have to put on there, including yourself. I think it's 3 or 4 altogether. I think you can put up to any odd number, because you got to always have somebody to where there can't be an even number, because it may always be kind of like a hung board. So you got to always have that one extra person. So I think it's it's recommended to do either 5 or 7 people. That way you always have that person that's, the oddball, okay? But you need to do your articles of incorporation, because this is telling the government, these are the people that are responsible for this entity. These are the people that are responsible for making sure that this entity operates at the highest level, okay? So the articles of incorporation are huge. On the articles of incorporation, you got to make sure that you have your people's address. You got to make sure that you have the address. You got to make sure that you have their phone numbers, all those things, okay? Now, you don't have to necessarily put their titles, but you do have to put that they are directors and all of that, and you have to make sure that you determine whether you're going to have a membership and all that stuff. But please make sure that you do that, because if you go to get a bank account, which we're going to talk about next, guess what? They're going to ask you for these type 3. They're going to ask you for these top 3. They're going to ask you for your DBA. They're going to ask you for your EIN. And they're going to ask you for your articles of incorporation, okay? So make sure that you have these, okay? The next thing you're gonna need, and I was just talking about that, is you will need, and I'm telling you, I don't care what nobody say, you will need a bank account, okay? You will need a bank account, okay? Real talk, you're going to need a bank account. Okay, the first one you're going to need is a DBA. The second one you're going to need is an EIN. The third one is Articles of Incorporation, which is infused in your DBA. And the next thing you're going to need is a bank account, okay? Listen to me and listen to me well. Do not take this for granted. If you're truly serious about growing your ministry, and you're truly serious about, breaking ground and starting other facilities on the grounds that your ministry is on, you're going to need a loan, okay? Let's just throw it out there. You're going to need a loan. I'm not saying you got to be like the biggest mega church in your city. I'm just saying you're going to need a loan. And the only way you're going to get a loan is through watch this now, bank relationship. Okay, they are not going to, it's just like, would you give $100 to somebody you don't know? Of course you wouldn't, because there's no guarantee you're going to get your money. So if you have a relationship with a bank, guess what? They are more likely, even if your credit is jacked up, they are more likely to give you the money, because they can now say, wait, hold on. Even though our credit is not good, we're looking at the transactions coming in and out. They're consistent. They have a savings account. They have collateral. So now we can see a little bit more. So even though what's not in their credit, it's made up in their consistency and stability. And that's what bank accounts do. Plus, you never want to walk around with money on you, okay? All right? That's why you got to have checkbooks. Every church should have a checkbook, okay? Every church should have a checkbook. All right? I don't care. We recently just got a checkbook. It was so frustrating just to always have, because let me tell you something. You don't always, especially at night, want to go to the ATM machine. Times are crazy. I'm telling you. And you do not want to always go to the ATM machine to try to pull out no money. Because the one thing about an ATM machine is it does not hide that you're getting money. Okay, and man, people are crazy just to sit there and wait for you to get money. So real quickly, guys, I just want to give a shout out to a couple people, man, for making this all happen. I want to give a shout out to JSE Productions. They're responsible for the introduction that you saw. They are responsible for the outro that you're going to see. They're responsible for the flyer. So if you need graphic work done, if you need video work done, listen, I'm telling you right now, Miss Sophia Edwards is awesome. You can get in touch with her at 214-916-8657. Again, my mistake is 214-916 8657, or you can email her for inquiries, or if you need customization or certain designs, she responds right back to you within an hour maybe. You can get in touch with her at JSE Productions at mail.com. Again, that's JSE Productions at mail.com. Again, guys, I want to make sure that you guys join us every Monday at 11 a.m. for Bishop Chronicles, not only on our podcast via Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but also you can catch us on YouTube and also on Facebook Live as well. I want to give a shout out also to WPS Studios for making everything possible. Dr. Vanell Warren out there at 900 East Beltline Road. Man, listen, these guys are awesome. Anytime you need any type of videography work, if you're trying to do a movie, you're trying to do a commercial, you're trying to do an infomercial, whatever it is for your business, for your vision, it doesn't matter. These guys are awesome. Photography work, you name it. Go out to WPS TV, WPS Studios, out at 900 East Beltline Road, DeSoto, Texas, 75115. Ask for Dr. Vanell Warren and let them make your dreams come true. Back to the podcast. Listen, guys, we left off with a bank account. Listen, I'm telling you right now how crucial a bank account is. I didn't even, we never had a checkbook in doing our, when we had our church, and it was just chaotic. It was chaotic because I have women working with me, and my chief of staff is a woman. And as strong as she is, guess what? I don't like for her to be out at night trying to go to an ATM machine. It's just like trying to go to a bank and walking out with money at nighttime. It doesn't make sense. So a checkbook allows you to be able, people don't steal checkbooks no more. Okay, just shut down now. They don't steal checkbooks. But at least when you're at a function, it looks more professional. Okay, remind you, we'll talk about perception in later podcasts, but it does create good perception when you can write a check, a business check. It brings legitimacy and professionalism to your organizations, and if people love doing business with people that are professional and that seem like they got it going on. Okay, so a bank account is just awesome. Once again, a bank account also has other services that can help you, especially as a new church, marketing things, promotional things, you name it, man. They have so many things. Not check cashing, but credit card machines. Man, just so many things that you could use, man, to help you as a small business, rather than you go and try to buy these things on your own. The banking institution that you normally are associated with will help you with those things. So a bank account, I'm telling you, is awesome. Okay, and plus, I'm not a good saver of money, so I need somebody else to keep my money. So I got to make sure that my bank account is legit. Okay, cool. The next thing, this next thing I'm going to tell you is really, really, really important. And for me, this is it's infused with a lot of things, but I'm going to let me put it on here. Okay, I'm going to throw it out here because I think it's important. Okay. I think it's important because I think this is another reason why a lot of ministries have a hard time succeeding. You got to have a vision board or a plan. Okay, a vision board or a plan. And I know some people will say, well, hold on, Dr. Mays, that's not really a legal entity. No, it's not, but it is. Let me tell you, it is one of the best things you can have when you are trying to put your ministry together. It truly is. It's one of the best things that you could have because it reminds you of your why. It reminds you of your why. It reminds you of why you are doing this, why you are grinding so hard, why you are sacrificing so much. It really does keep you within the proper perspective. A vision board says, wait, hold on. If I want that new home, then I have to do this. I got to focus on this. So now when you get tired and you get weary, guess what? You'll look at that vision board and be like, well, if I want that new land, or if I want that new youth center, if I want that new life center, if I want that new bus for the church, then guess what? I got to fight this out. I got to grind it. I got to do that. And your vision board really does help you with that. The next thing you're going to need, and it's associated with your vision board, is a plan. Every ministry should have a business plan. Okay, I don't care if it's on a napkin. I don't care if it's on some foil paper. I don't care if you recorded it on a recorder. Every church needs to have a plan. Okay, when you open, one of the biggest things that hurt me when I first started my church is I didn't have a plan. I went by what I saw and not what I knew. Okay, I had no direction, I had no structure, I had no plan. So I thought that I could just go to a church, start preaching, and then the people will come. I thought my preaching was that good where people would come, when in reality, people need so much more. Remind you, if you're dealing with children, and I don't mean this negatively, but I want you to hear what I'm saying. When you're dealing with people of God that are young in the ministry, they're immature in the Bible and Scripture, you have to treat them like spiritually they are young men and young women. So you have to have a plan, a strategy, and you have to be able to show them where you are going. Because a lot of times, especially in 2020, people don't like following people that have no destination. Okay, and a plan allows you to be able to tell your people this is where we're going. So when you need them to do something, they're not bucking against you because they don't know why they're doing it. It's just like people paying tithes. Most people got a problem paying tithes because they don't know where the tithes are going. But if you can show them, hey, your tithes went to paying this lights. Your tithe went to repaving the parking lot. Your tithe went to getting the new roof done. You know, when you can show them that, hey, listen, your tithes are a part of God's plan and a part of the vision that God has placed inside of me. People do not mind sowing into you. They don't mind helping you. And one of the biggest things, I still struggle with it a little bit, is making sure that I'm doing something to show the people that what I'm asking you to do is part of the plan. You gotta have a plan. You gotta have structure, strategy, and system. The 3 S's. We'll talk about that in a later podcast. But I'm telling you, man, you gotta have a plan. You can have a vision board, but a vision with no plan means you're not setting goals. And if you don't set goals, that means people will say you're not realistic about hitting your reaching what you're trying to get to. Shout out to Kickstart. Love Kickstart. Okay? So, real talk. You guys gotta make sure you have a plan. Gotta make sure you have a plan. Gotta make sure that you are operating in consistency. You got to make sure that you have an outline, a guideline. You got to have direction. Okay, a church with no direction will end up anywhere. I'm gonna say it again. A church with no direction will end up anywhere. Okay, but listen, those are the 5 things that I think that you probably need when you're starting your church. I'm sure you guys could come up with 6 or 7 more. Listen, I want to hear about it. I want to know what you think that a church needs when they're starting their church. I might have missed a couple things, and I want you guys to share it with me. But I'm telling you right now, you definitely need a DBA. You definitely need a DBA. You definitely need a EIN. You need to get your articles of incorporation done, and you need a bank account. And you need to have a vision board. You need to have a plan. I'm telling you right now, your vision board is going to be concurrent and cohesive with your plan. If you do not have a plan, if you do not have a plan, then reaching your vision is never going to happen. Listen, guys, as always, I want to make sure that you guys take a look at us on our social media. Follow us on Facebook. Continue to follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bishop Chronicles Podcast. And also, I need you guys to subscribe to our new YouTube channel, Dr. Holly Mays Network. Dr. Holly Mays Network. So listen, man, I hope these things helped you. I pray that they come in handy. Real quickly, I just want to give you guys a quick final thought, man. I got a couple things I want you guys to check out. Final thought. Here's the deal. A church cannot grow without structure. A church cannot grow without stability. A church cannot grow without a designed plan. And it's up to the pastor to make sure that the church is going to grow according to the design plan. The people don't know the design plan unless you share it with them. They don't know the vision unless you give it to them. So if your vision changes every 3 days, guess what? The concept and mentality of your people in your vision will change every 3 days. It's up to you as the shepherd to guide the sheep properly, to make sure that you use your staff and you use your tools and resources available to you to make sure that you keep them safe, you keep them going in the right direction, and watch this, you keep them educated enough so that they know how to be faithful to the scriptures and the word of God. So listen, guys, I love you guys with the love of the Lord. Remember to uplift Christ wherever you go, and do me a favor, make the rest of your day the best of your day. God bless you guys. See you guys next week. Hey, make sure you guys are joining Daily Manna Tuesday through Friday. Love you guys. I'm out of here. Peace. But I've been Baptist, I've been in the Methodist church, all of that.